What's the big story?
I don't know. Walmart's got something for us. Walmart's got something. He hasn't done a
Cool. All right. Enjoy. What's up?
It was also great about this thing. Establish where we want them to go live.
Exactly.
Some of those times they do it where the sun is like right there. I've done that where we're streaming.
I put that thing up one time. Ferguson, I think I had a spot for it. But it's so much nicer having a good fight. Standing out there, one of those stupid microphones, or putting 4 lavaliers on the guy. That always looks fun.
Police too with the radio. I don't know if you guys know.
Oh, and the radio mic.
Yeah. Maybe it's
No, I believe it. It's
maybe it's doing something.
what frequency you're on.
Or it was buffered
Duh.
white skin.
Well, you're gonna step in my chair.
I know.
This is making me nervous.
What's that?
No need to be late on
No.
this.
So do you fly solo most days? It seems like I run into you more than anybody else.
Really depends.
We got all these young kids in there.
And you have to pack. Work alone.
Right.
Ray was not.
I didn't look him out.
The only, like I said, really it's just a straight recorder. So, you know,
My body won't know how to.
once you hear about it, you usually go.
Never done it.
Yeah, Sonos is the only one.
And she'll be all fine.
Keep that around.
I have no idea. I mean, I guess as those contracts come up, I don't know if she's told that. You'll be doing the, the front one. What's wrong with that? It's not good for something.
I haven't listened. I don't know.
I can even learn.
That's the one thing I pay the money for. I'm like, I want to
Even
go.
though the ones at night are one that they have. Usually, you don't have a phone.
I forgot my gloves. I need gloves too.
Hey, G.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Can you hear okay?
Hi.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
How are you?
I don't have a whole lot, but I'll give you what I got.
Take it.
Okay. You just let me know when you're ready.
Stepping with
Everybody good?
I'm ready for him.
All right.
Oh no.
Except for your KU hat.
Well, you know, my daughter,
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
which is really a problem because my wife went to Mizzou. I went to school in Illinois, so I really don't care. How my wife let her go to KU, I'll never know.
Yeah, well, it happens. All right, well, we'll get started here. Thank you guys for joining us. I just wanted to announce real briefly a follow-up to the crime spree story that hit last week. unfortunately hit too close to home for us here in St. Charles County, and even more tragically for a deputy in eastern Illinois. Today we filed 14 counts against Ray Tate, who many of you know was charged in the murder of a Illinois sheriff's deputy late last week. Our county became involved in the matter, and we subsequently charged him just today. I want to just briefly describe the background and the details that led to those charges, and I'll answer any questions you guys might have. So back on December 29th, there was a shooting that took place in eastern Illinois in the early morning hours. A deputy was found dead on the roadside. His squad car was abandoned not far from the scene of the shooting on the interstate. A couple hours later, the suspect in that case was found to be in a Quick Trip parking lot in the St. Peters, Missouri area right off the interstate. Apparently what had happened is the suspect, Mr. Tate, had carjacked a semi-truck driver. They pulled over to the Quick Trip to use the restroom. He escorted the semi-driver inside the Quick Trip at gunpoint, although the gun was concealed. He then stole the truck driver's cell phone. The truck driver was able to get away and run to safety. So at that point, the suspect then attempted to carjack an individual in the parking lot at QT, was unsuccessful with that individual's car, moved to another suspect, or I should say victim's car, shot that victim with non-life-threatening injuries, stole that victim's car, which about an hour later was found discarded outside of a business about a mile away in the city of O'Fallon. O'Fallon detectives arrived and were able to pull the surveillance video from the business where the car was found. In that video, you can see the suspect, Tate, confronts the owner of a white Nissan truck who is an employee of that business. He orders that suspect into the driver's side at gunpoint. Tate, our suspect, gets into the passenger side. They then take off. We later found out, a few hours later, they were in a residence across the river in Carlisle, Illinois, which is about 50 miles or so east of here. And that's where the suspect was eventually taken into custody. Our victim, whose vehicle was hijacked, was unharmed, was actually able to escape before the officers arrived. So altogether, we have charged Ray Tate with 14 counts ranging from kidnapping, armed criminal action, robbery in the first degree, assault in the first degree, a couple of other charges that are coincidental to those. We have 11 of those 14 counts. Mr. Tate would be facing the possibility of a life sentence in prison. That's just our piece of the case. I know Illinois has the murder case. I understand that there will be other charges coming from Carlisle authorities, and I also understand that the United States Attorney will be picking up this case on some level. That's about all I have at this point. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
I do. Where is Tate currently?
He's currently in the Wayne County Department of Corrections, which is in eastern Illinois, closer to the Indiana border.
So they got a murder case on him over there. When do you think you'll get a hold of him?
It's tough to say. So theirs is going to take priority. Obviously, the stakes are much higher. So at this point, we just wanted to make sure he was in custody there. Typically we would have filed this one in custody that day, but since we didn't need to do that, we took a little more time to have our guys make sure they investigated everything. So it could be a long, long time before he sees the courtroom here in St. Charles.
Yeah, so you got your foot in the door, but not going to see him for a while.
Yeah, not for a while. We wanted to make sure we did our part to keep him held, and that's apparently that's not going to be an issue.
Describe for people, obviously 14 counts sounds like a lot of charges. Describe how serious the nature of all of them are. You've got life sentence for many.
Yeah, so of the 14 charges, a handful of them are what we call unclassified, the armed criminal action cases. Those are cases where he could be sentenced from anywhere from 3 to 30 years in prison, which is a life sentence in Missouri. The other Class A felonies, same thing. That's the vehicle hijacking, the robbery, the assault first degree. The one thing that I think is sort of remarkable about this, number one, it's remarkable that not more people were killed. We had one victim who was injured significantly, but not in a life-threatening way. One of our victims was able to get away scot-free. The other thing that's sort of unusual about this case is typically when you hear about this type of a story that takes place, a crime spree that takes place over multiple states involving multiple carjackings, it's rare that you find the suspect alive. I mean, typically he's going to do himself in or he's going to commit suicide by cop. He didn't do that. Anything else? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
It's colder than
Yeah,
I thought it was out here.
Jeez. Bad.